I was treated like a songbird and kept for 10 years. Even when I died, he never promised me a wedding. When I opened my eyes again, I was back 10 years ago. To avoid the nightmare repeating itself, the first thing I did after being reborn was find his future archenemy. At the time, he was just a mechanic, poor and destitute. I slammed my bank card on the table. Marriage? After we marry, I'll give you all my salary. He bit his lip. 3,000 a month, and I'll agree. I proposed to Jiang Jia. At that moment, the man had a cigarette in his mouth. What do you see in me? I thought for a while and blurted out, you're handsome. Humph. His mocking laughter made my face flush red. I mustered up the courage to ask, so, will you agree? Jiang Jia didn't say a word. He stared at me intently. It seemed like he had already seen through my little scheme. I forced myself to look back at him, hoping he could see my sincerity. After a long time, he smiled. He casually replied, why wouldn't I agree to a wife who's offering herself for free? So I got married. On the second day after I had traveled through time. Holding the little red book, I still felt a deep sense of unreality. In my previous life, I had actually met Jiang Jia. That was the 7th year I had been locked up by Ethan. I escaped from the villa with nothing but the clothes on my back. On the street, I encountered Jiang Jia. At that time, he was already a renowned tycoon. He was dressed impeccably, exuding an aura that kept others at bay. I begged him to save me. Jiang Jia arranged a place for me to stay and provided me with a ticket to leave. But later, I was discovered by Ethan again. Unwilling to recall that past, I looked up at Jiang Jia and asked, where should we go next? I'll take you home. I was taken aback. Aren't we married? So what? So you didn't plan to take me home? Jiang Jia lived in an unfinished residential complex. The building wasn't even topped out yet. The only people coming and going were construction workers in hard hats. I used to work here as a laborer and know the foreman. I'm staying here temporarily before the handover, so I don't have to pay rent. Noticing the confusion in my eyes, Jiang Jia explained. The place had a raw industrial vibe. The room was empty except for a fold-out bed. The bathroom didn't even have a flush toilet, and the only place to shower was a faucet. Jiang Jia looked at me, regretting it. You can still leave now. No regrets. I placed my luggage aside. We'll sleep here tonight. The bed is a bit small, isn't it? Jiang Jia narrowed his eyes and replied, it's enough. As night fell, I lay down on Jiang Jia's army cot. The man casually spread out 2 newspapers and lay down on the floor. There were no curtains in the room, and through the glass, I could see the bright moonlight. Jiang Jia, are you asleep? I was worried about catching a cold sleeping on the floor, so I moved over to one side of the cot. Do you want to come up and sleep? The bed was small, but we could squeeze in. After a few seconds, Jiang Jia replied, if I come over, you won't be able to sleep. I clutched the blanket in my hands. I don't mind. As soon as the words left my mouth, Jiang Jia pounced on me like a beast that had been given permission. I didn't react in time and instinctively turned my head away. The weight on my body eased, and through the moonlight, I saw a hint of mockery on Jiang Jia's face. Don't say one thing and mean another. I'm an honest person, I take things at face value. With that, he tried to lie back down on the newspaper. Seeing his intention, I grabbed the hem of his shirt. My fingers slipped through the gap and touched his body. Jiang Jia shuddered, his eyes meeting mine with a hint of complexity. I bit my lip tightly. I really want to. Fearing he would refuse, I dared to scratch inside a few times. Jiang Jia's eyes darkened. Now, you have no chance. Unlike the muscles Ethan had specifically built in the gym, Jiang Jia had worked manual labor for years, giving his skin a natural tan. His abs were rock hard, and his entire body exuded strength. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore and cried until I was convulsing before he stopped. He roughly kissed away my tears and said, "You're so delicate." His tone was filled with displeasure. My body was already in agony, and instead of comforting me, he scolded me for no reason. I was upset too, turned away, and didn't want to look at him. The man didn't respond either, got out of bed, and left without a word. I hugged the blanket, feeling more and more wronged. In my previous life, Ethan had kept me like a songbird for 10 years. It wasn't until I died that I finally found freedom. I thought it was heaven's mercy, giving me another chance to start over. But Jiang Jia was like a completely different person. Just as I was crying, a warm towel suddenly covered my face. Jiang Jia had come back without me noticing, holding a basin and a warm towel. Are you crying? I denied it. No. Jiang Jia roughly wiped my face, then twisted the towel dry. What are you doing? There's no hot water in the house, so I can't take a shower. Wiping yourself down will make you feel better. My body did feel sticky and uncomfortable. I didn't have time to be angry. Blushing, I tried to grab the towel. I'll do it myself. Stay still. Jiang Jia ignored my movements, pulled back the blanket, and placed the steaming hot towel on my face. A moment later, I heard Jiang Jia's voice. Don't be angry. Next time I'll be gentler, okay? Her voice sounded a bit awkward. The heat on my face slowly rose, and I curved my lips upward. I covered my face with the blanket. The next morning when I woke up, Jiang Jia was already dressed and ready. 2 buns were placed on the low table. I didn't know when the man had gone to buy them. The hot water is ready. I'll take you to work after you finish washing up. No need, I can go on my own. Jiang Jia glanced at me. There are a lot of workers around here. You're just a little girl, it's not safe for you to go alone. Then he added, call me when you get off work tonight, and I'll pick you up. I took my time washing up and only then noticed the bank card on the table. It was the one I had given him when I proposed to him yesterday. The card, don't forget it. Jiang Jia glanced at it, keep it. I'm not going to use a woman's money. He was lying. He was clearly so poor. Jiang Jia didn't take it, and I didn't argue. In my heart, I calculated that maybe I could use the money in the card to buy a new house. If Jiang Jia didn't want to, at least I could buy a new bed. Though we didn't have the golden house of our parents' generation, looking at Jiang Jia, I felt an inexplicable sense of security. This good mood lasted all the way to work. As soon as I entered the office, Linda approached me mysteriously. Xiaoxi, I have some good news for you. She lowered her voice. You've been noticed by my cousin Ethan. Me? She pulled me aside mysteriously. My cousin Ethan isn't just anyone. He's super handsome, has a great personality, is an Ivy Leaguer, and his father is a mogul. Countless wealthy heiresses have tried to get close to him, but he hasn't even glanced at any of them. Yesterday, he suddenly asked me to set you up on a blind date. Linda's eyes sparkled. Sis, your lucky day has come. Ivy League. Father is a mogul. A name suddenly popped into my head. My face went pale. I controlled my expression and politely declined in a calm tone. I'm afraid I'll have to tell your cousin Ethan I'm sorry, but I'm not that lucky. I'm already married. Linda didn't believe me. We've been colleagues for a year, and you don't even have a boyfriend. How did you suddenly get married? Really, we've already registered. The wedding hasn't been held yet, but we'll send you an invitation later. I smiled. I have 2 more classes to teach. I'll head to the classroom now. After saying that, I hurried away. Only after stepping out the door did my entire body feel drained of strength. Ethan. In my previous life, he hadn't appeared at this time. Why had he come so much earlier? And how did he know I was teaching at the same elementary school as Linda? My hands and feet felt ice cold. I tried to reassure myself that I was already married in this life, and I had Jiang Jia. I would never repeat the same mistake. Ethan's unexpected appearance had really affected my mood. I was distracted all day. My right eyelid kept twitching. I felt like something was about to happen. Sure enough, when I left school after work, I saw a black car parked at the entrance. The car emblem was flashy. When he saw me, the man in the car got out, holding a bouquet of roses. Miss Emily. He called out to me with a smile and introduced himself. I'm Ethan, Linda's cousin Ethan. The area was crowded with students getting out of school and parents picking up their kids. Ethan's bouquet of roses was eye-catching and extravagant. Someone recognized me and started clapping. They urged me to agree to him. My face turned pale. What do you want? Don't be nervous. I just want to get to know you. Ethan's lips curled slightly. I saw you by chance while waiting for Linda earlier, and I really liked you. I came here uninvited today. Don't feel pressured. Just think of it as making a new friend. Despite Ethan's act, I could still sense the madness in his eyes. In my helplessness, I suddenly spotted Jiang Jia in the corner. He was straddling a broken motorcycle, a cigarette hanging from his mouth, glancing at me sideways. He looked like he didn't care about anything. Like a drowning person finally seeing a lifeline, I rushed over. The familiar smell of motor oil on Jiang Jia's body brought me back to my senses. I turned to Ethan and said, I already explained to Linda that I'm married. Ethan clearly hadn't expected that. His smile froze. His gaze drifted to Jiang Jia, and a flash of hatred crossed his eyes. Though he hid it quickly, I caught it. But hatred? This was the first time he'd ever seen Jiang Jia. Why the hatred? Ethan quickly covered his expression and adjusted his emotions. I was too forward. I should have inquired about Miss Emily's personal circumstances beforehand. Since I've already bought the flowers, I won't take them back. I'll just wish you a happy marriage. He then handed them to me. Flowers for a beauty. I'm sure your husband won't mind. Before I could respond, Jiang Jia suddenly smiled. Who said I don't mind? He looked at Ethan. I'm a petty person. I can't stand seeing my beautiful wife accept something from someone else. After saying that, Jiang Jia directly placed a pink helmet on my head. Put it on. I looked at the brand new helmet, and my mood inexplicably improved. I couldn't help but ask, did you buy this specifically for me? I found it in the trash. I puckered my lips. Can you pick up a blue one next time? I like blue. Jiang Jia raised his eyebrows, pretending to take the helmet back. I hurriedly held it tight, tapping my head with my fingers. Does it look good? Jiang Jia's eyes sparkled with a smile. He reached out and pulled down the visor of the helmet. Then he said, You're such a fool. When I turned back, Ethan had already left. After today's incident, everyone knew that my husband was a mechanic at a repair shop. During recess, I overheard a few teachers discussing it. So what if he's good-looking? He still ended up with a husband like that. You didn't see it, his motorcycle is so old, it sounds like a tractor. Everyone laughed. When I walked in, someone deliberately asked, Xiaoxi, where does your husband fix cars? My husband just bought a Mercedes and wants to take it in for maintenance. Could you give him some business? Sure, I'll send you the address later. Linda couldn't stand it anymore and pulled me out of the office. Are you out of your mind? They're bullying you, and you don't even fight back. You're so good-looking and have a decent job. How could you end up with? Linda paused, then continued, I speak my mind. Don't take it personally. You're just a recent graduate who got fooled. You think love can replace bread. You'll regret it later. Seriously, consider my cousin Ethan. He said he doesn't mind if you're divorced. Linda, your bag is pretty nice. I interrupted Linda, my eyes falling on the Hermes bag on her desk. New? Linda froze, her face turning red. Yeah. Linda was just an office worker. It was obvious who had given her the bag and why. I didn't press the issue. My husband and I are fine. How we live our lives is our business. Don't mention him again. I don't like hearing about him. That day after work, Jiang Jia didn't ride his motorcycle. Where's your bike? I sold it. Jiang Jia didn't explain further, just curved his lips slightly. Let's go. Jiang Jia pulled me forward, but the direction was different from usual. I had no idea what Jiang Jia was up to. After walking for about 100 meters, we stopped at a residential complex near my school. 3rd floor, let's go take a look. I had a vague guess in my heart. But I couldn't believe it. I slowly made my way to the 3rd floor. The door to the middle unit was wide open. Stepping inside, it was a small 2-bedroom apartment. The place wasn't big, but it was decorated exceptionally warmly. The curtains were the color of the sky, gently fluttering in the breeze. The setting sun streamed through the windows, bathing the entire room in a golden glow. He remembered that I liked blue. I couldn't describe that feeling. Having lived 2 lifetimes, I had stayed in luxurious villas and dilapidated shacks. But at that moment, my heart felt filled with joy. You sold your motorcycle and rented this place? The area around the school is a school district, so while the houses are old, the prices are still high. Jiang Jia's money probably wasn't enough to cover the deposit and 3 months' rent. Jiang Jia didn't mention the motorcycle, only saying, this place is closer to your school, making it more convenient for commuting. Besides, there's no hot water there, and you're too delicate to handle it. Before he finished speaking, I turned around and hugged Jiang Jie's waist. Jiang Jie was startled by my sudden embrace. After a moment of stunned silence, he wrapped his arms around my back from behind. Enough, this isn't the time for crying. Cry to me later tonight, okay? How inappropriate. That night, Jiang Jie finally made me cry. He pulled me into his arms, his face satisfied as he kissed my lips. My wife was right. A double bed is definitely more fun than a single bed. We should have moved in sooner. I never said that. I held back, but I didn't kick him out. The next day was Saturday, and Jiang Jie and I had planned to go to the empty apartment to pick up some things. By the afternoon, Jiang Jie hadn't come home. I might not be able to make it today. There's something going on at the factory. Jiang Jie called me midway. I didn't think much of it and said, I'll go by myself then. There wasn't much to pick up, just a suitcase. Jiang Jie's place was in disarray, and I didn't hear him respond, so I hung up. In the past, Jiang Jie never allowed me to go there alone. Mainly because there were too many workers, and Jiang Jie always felt it wasn't safe. But now, in broad daylight, picking up a few things wasn't a big deal. But as soon as I entered the room, 3 or 4 workers followed me in. Are you living here alone, girl? My heart sank. Who are you? Get out. We work here. How can we leave? The leader laughed. We've been watching you with that guy here for ages. You two are pretty wild. Why not play with us too? The room was too spacious, and I couldn't find anything to protect myself with. Gritting my teeth, I turned and ran toward the door. The man reacted quickly, grabbed my hair, and threw me to the ground. You've got a nice body, I've been wanting you for a long time. I've been waiting for today, he said as he pressed down on me. I struggled desperately, screaming wildly. Just as his hand was about to touch my clothes, the door was kicked open. The man on top of me was knocked to the ground. The other 2 workers rushed over to help. I'm the developer here. Are you sure you want to fight me? The 3 of them looked at each other, sizing up the sincerity of his words. After a moment, they cursed and ran away. Ethan took off his suit jacket and covered me with it, then turned to Aide, who was standing beside him, and said, Find out who they are. You handle it. Aide nodded and walked away. Ethan finally looked down at me. Do you remember me? His fingers were turning blue from gripping my clothes. I don't remember. I handed him back his clothes and picked up my suitcase. Thank you for your help today. As I walked away, Ethan suddenly grabbed my wrist. You seem afraid of me. We don't know each other. Why would I be afraid of you? True. Ethan let go of me. And you, why are you here? If I'm not mistaken, this development isn't even finished yet. It's none of your business. True, but this land was developed by me. Ethan stared at me. Illegal occupation. What do you think if I sued Jiang Jie under that pretext? What do you want? I want you. Ethan made no attempt to hide his intentions. Emily, I told you from the beginning, I want you. I've also told you, I'm married. That's none of my business. I clenched my lips. He bent down to meet my gaze. That man can't give you the life you want. You're a pearl, you shouldn't be gathering dust in his hands. Do you want your husband to rot in prison, or live a life of privilege with me? The choice is yours. I gripped my suitcase tightly and turned to leave. This time, Ethan didn't stop me. Until we were out of the complex. I realized my whole body was trembling uncontrollably. 3 workers followed me inside, and Ethan just happened to rescue the damsel in distress. I didn't believe any of this was a coincidence. Reborn into this life. Ethan was still the same. Whatever he wanted, he would stop at nothing to get it. I called Jiang Jie several times, but no one answered. I waited until it was getting late before I started to feel something was wrong. Since we got married, Jiang Jie had never come home this late. I rushed straight to the factory where he worked. It was a mess. I stopped the uncle cleaning up and asked, Do you know where Jiang Jie is? Jay? He went to the hospital. I was stunned. Why would he go to the hospital out of the blue? The man shook his head. What a mess. You've gotten involved with some unreasonable thugs. By the time I got the address and arrived at the hospital, Jiang Jie had already been pushed out of the examination room. There were 2 bloodstains on his face, and his right arm was immobilized with a cast. His mud-stained clothes were dotted with red spots. Tears welled up in my eyes. Jiang Jia. Why did you come? He walked over, reached out with his other hand to wipe my face, and said, "It's okay, I'm not dead." Why are you crying? At a time like this, he was still saying such things. I was a bit angry and was about to speak when I suddenly heard a voice. Holy crap, Jake, your sister-in-law is so beautiful. She looks just like Angel. He muttered, no wonder you don't play with us at night. If I had such a beautiful wife, I wouldn't go out either. Only then did I notice that there was a young man standing behind Jiang Jia. He wasn't very old, staring straight at me. His eyes were clear and innocent, making it hard to dislike him. The direct compliment made me a bit embarrassed, but Jiang Jia just smiled and said, "Get away from my wife." After the doctor confirmed that it was just a minor fracture in my right hand and the rest were superficial injuries, I finally relaxed. How did you get hurt like this? Before Jiang Jia could speak, the boy blurted out, "We ran into an unreasonable guy today. His car wasn't even damaged, but he insisted that Jake had ruined it and demanded compensation. We refused, so he called a bunch of people to smash the shop. Didn't you call the police? What's the point? That guy looked like he had connections. His license plate had 5/8. Someone without power or influence couldn't afford that kind of plate. 5/8? I suddenly remembered something. What kind of car was it? A black Hummer. The kid was still sighing over there. We've gotten involved with such a powerful family. What are we going to do now? Jake, do you think the boss will hold us responsible for this? I didn't hear a word of what was said afterward. All I could see was darkness. It was Ethan again. Suddenly, a hand grabbed my cheek. I winced in pain and met Jiang Jia's mocking gaze. Looking at his careless expression, I felt a bit odd. Aren't you worried? Worried about what? About what happens next? Jiang Jia scoffed, if it comes to that, I'll just quit. What can they do to me? Then he raised the corner of his mouth, besides, I've got my wife to support me. 3,000 a month, and I hand over my salary. He mentioned the time I proposed to him. My face turned red again. I softly said, my money is all yours. Jiang Jia tapped my forehead with his finger and said, you're such a fool. Jiang Jia was fired. I heard the car repair shop owner call him, this is my fault, but the other party is too powerful, and I can't do anything. Jiang Jia smoked a cigarette, his expression unreadable. After the call ended, Jiang Jia called out to me, wife. I thought he was going to tell me about getting fired. Just as I was thinking about how to comfort him, he said, I feel like I'm sweaty. Help me take a shower. Me? Looking up, Jiang Jia didn't look the least bit downcast. Help him take a shower. My face turned bright red. Why are you always thinking about such things? What kind of things? Jiang Jia raised an eyebrow. My right hand is in a cast and can't get wet. I just wanted you to help me run a bath. Then he leaned close to my ear. What's wrong? Do you have other ideas? Just say it. Your husband would rather lose this arm than deny you. I was so angry and embarrassed that I forgot about his unemployment. I stormed into the bathroom. I could still hear his joyful laughter from behind. However, while taking a shower, Jiang Jia noticed what had happened to me during the day. His hand gently gripped my neck, and he frowned. What happened here? I finally noticed a blood stain on my neck. There were also several obvious bruises. They must have been caused during my struggle earlier. I hurriedly covered it with my hair. I accidentally did it. Jiang Jia sneered. You accidentally scratched your own neck and scratched yourself in the process? I had no choice but to tell the truth. I went to the unfinished house to get something, and someone followed me. Seeing Jiang Jia's face darken instantly, I hurriedly explained, but nothing happened. Someone saved me. Jiang Jia didn't say a word. We stood there in an awkward standoff. The small bathroom was filled with steam, which gradually dissipated, leaving a chill in the air. I shivered. Jiang Jia finally reacted and wrapped me in a towel. I tugged at his hand. Are you angry? I shouldn't have let you go alone. His eyes were filled with unhidden pain and regret. But it was clearly my fault. I couldn't hold back any longer and blurted out everything I knew. It was all Ethan's doing. He's the one who sent me roses at school before. The Hummer is his, and he deliberately smashed the store to cause trouble for you. The workers were also hired by him, just waiting there to rescue me. He even knew where we lived and threatened to sue you. I don't know why he's so cruel, why he's so fixated on me. I'm sorry, it's all my fault. If it weren't for me, I couldn't continue and started crying uncontrollably. I wanted to cry out all the grievances of my 2 lifetimes. I don't understand. I've never done anything to Ethan. Why won't Ethan leave me alone? Seeing me cry so hard, Jiang Jia wiped my face with a towel. Why do you cry so easily? Don't you blame me? Blame you for what? Blame you for being too good-looking, too charming, so that even thieves notice you on the street? This person. The emotions from earlier were gone thanks to Jiang Jia's words. I sniffled. Jiang Jia, do you regret it? Regret what? Marrying me. Jiang Jia didn't answer but asked back, do you regret it? Marrying a mechanic who has nothing and now even lost his job. I shook my head vigorously. If my wife doesn't regret it, why should I? Jiang Jia raised his eyebrows slightly. My wife didn't even look at the son of a mogul, but she chose me instead, willing to sacrifice money and people to be with me. What do I have to complain about? Those words made me want to cry again. In fact, I did cry again. I curled up in Jiang Jia's arms. I love you. Jiang Jia didn't expect me to confess my feelings, and his body stiffened. He pressed me tightly against his chest, his voice hoarse as he murmured, your husband is here. After that day, Jiang Jia became very busy. Even though he had lost his job, he still left early and returned late every day. I had no idea what he was doing. But I suppose he was also scared by what happened with Ethan. Even though we moved next to the school, he insisted on picking me up and dropping me off every day. Stay at school with the other teachers and don't wander off, okay? I felt like laughing. I'm not a kindergarten kid. I'm not that fragile. Jiang Jia curved his lips. You are a kid. However, lately, Jiang Jia's social engagements have increased significantly. Sometimes he's too busy, so he asks a colleague he met at the hospital to help out. I felt embarrassed and told the boy, it's just a short distance. I can walk on my own. Don't bother next time. That's not possible, the boy grinned. Jake assigned me this task, and I'll complete it no matter what. Besides, a fairy like you needs to be protected. Since persuading the boy was useless, I turned to Jiang Jia. If you keep this up, people will gossip that you're a wife's slave. But Jiang Jia didn't seem to care. He rolled his eyes and said, I love pampering my wife. What do they care? This left me both amused and exasperated. That day at work, Linda pulled me aside mysteriously and showed me her phone. Is this your husband? I looked over and saw a video of Jiang Jia drinking with a woman. The woman was stunningly beautiful. Besides Jiang Jia, there were 4 or 5 other men surrounding the woman. The room was dimly lit, so I couldn't see Jiang Jia's expression clearly. But it was definitely him. My friend took this at a bar. I thought the guy looked like him. Linda looked at me. I heard he was fired from the car repair shop and is now just a small-time thug. Look at him, resorting to selling his looks and drinking with a woman. Is this the true love you're talking about? You better watch out and don't catch anything. Are you done? My face darkened. Linda, you've repeatedly slandered my husband, followed him to take photos, and instigated us to divorce. You know exactly what you're up to. What did Ethan give you? I won't say it, but I'm not ignorant. From now on, unless it's work-related, please don't contact me alone. After saying that, I walked into the office. A while later, Linda came in. Her eyes were red. I faintly heard a few colleagues comforting her, probably saying that I didn't know a good thing when I saw it. That evening, Jiang Jia came home very late. Just back? Yeah. I sniffed. How much did you drink? Jiang Jia deliberately rubbed his face against mine. You don't like me, huh? I laughed and dodged her, but Jiang Jia hugged me tightly and sighed deeply. You've been working hard lately. I hugged her back and shook my head. The next morning, I caught a whiff of perfume on Jiang Jia's shirt. There was a faint lipstick stain on the sleeve. I thought of the photo Linda had shown me, and my heart ached. If I could, I'd rather Jiang Jia was just a mechanic. Days passed one after another, but I never expected that one day, I would actually catch Jiang Jia with another woman. That day, I was out shopping with a few teachers. We passed by an expensive Western restaurant. Suddenly, a teacher tugged on my bag and asked uncertainly, Xiaoxi, does that man look a bit like your husband? I looked over, and the man was sitting by the window. Across from him was a woman with meticulously applied makeup. My heart sank. It wasn't just a resemblance, it was him. My face turned pale, and my colleague noticed something was wrong. She forced a laugh and said, it's probably just business. They seemed to be talking normally. I nodded, not wanting to look anymore. Let's go. As I turned around, my colleague suddenly screamed and grabbed me, Xiaoxi, your husband. My heart raced, and I heard her say, beat that woman up. Me? I turned back quickly and saw the table, which had been standing there moments ago, kicked over by Jiang Jia. He looked down at the pale-faced woman with a mocking smile on his lips. I rushed over and heard Jiang Jia say, with your looks, you still dare to covet me? What kind of person are you? Then he walked out confidently, making eye contact with me. The man who had been so proud and arrogant moments ago, like a young lion, had deflated the moment I appeared. Wife? He furrowed his brows and began to explain, I don't hit women. It was an accident. She's tall, she bumped into the table, and it tipped over. I couldn't help but laugh, I didn't blame you. Jiang Jia sighed in relief, tugged my hand, and asked, shall we go home? When we got home, I found out that the person Jiang Jia had been dealing with all this time was Ethan's sister. The sales job was just a cover. He was actually trying to get close to his sister. Jiang Jia sneered, Emma is a wild woman, especially into twinks. She's done plenty of scandalous things behind the scenes. I've been using her to get inside their inner circle, and I've obtained a lot of information. I've sold it all to their rival company. It should be in the papers tomorrow. Though it's not a major scandal, it'll cause enough chaos for the Hayes family to deal with. They'll be too busy cleaning up the mess for Ethan to bother you. You did all this just to keep Ethan from bothering me? In a few days, I might have to go to San Francisco. I don't feel right leaving Ethan alone. Hearing Jiang Jia was leaving, I immediately felt a pang of sadness. Why are you leaving suddenly? How long will you be gone? A week or so. If this trip goes smoothly, I might have to travel frequently in the future. So, in reality, what Jiang Jia had been busy with all along. The transportation company. I got some connections while fixing cars, so I rented a few trucks to start with. At first, I didn't know anything, so I had to do everything myself. He rubbed my head hard, wait for me to come back. On the day Jiang Jia left, I still slipped my bank card into his pocket. Inside was the 70,000 yuan I'd saved over the years. It was all I had. I left a note, you'll need money when you're out there. The password is our birthday. Come back safely. After Jiang Jia left on his business trip, Emma's case made headlines. It was deliberately manipulated, and eventually linked to other scandals involving wealthy families, sparking intense public debate. Ethan was stretched too thin and didn't show up again. My life became easier. At the end of the semester, the outstanding teacher selection began. Each school could only nominate one candidate. Based on prior research, the school had originally planned to nominate me. However, on the day the results were announced, the list had changed to Linda. The school leadership was also in a difficult position and called me in for a talk, saying it was someone from higher up. Everyone knew the real reason behind it. After leaving the principal's office, I saw Linda. Since the photo incident, we had had little contact. Linda hummed softly beside me, said nothing, and walked away. Originally, this incident didn't cause any ripples in my heart. However, that night when I video chatted with Jiang Jia, the pent-up frustration finally overflowed. I puckered my lips, trying not to cry. Jiang Jia noticed something was wrong. What's wrong? I didn't want him to worry, I just watched a movie, and I feel so blocked inside. Jiang Jia chuckled, silly. After hanging up, I slapped my face hard. I mocked myself for regressing. In my previous life, my father was wrongfully imprisoned, and my mother was driven to a serious illness. I never shed a single tear. Yet here I was, crying in front of Jiang Jia over such a trivial matter. At midnight, I was just drifting off to sleep when I heard the sound of the door lock. My heart raced. I feared Ethan was causing trouble, so I grabbed the baseball bat for self-defense and stood behind the door, waiting. The next moment, the door opened. I swung the bat at him. He seemed prepared, catching it with one hand, then I heard a familiar teasing voice. What's going on? Did you hire a stranger to murder your own husband? I was surprised. Husband? How did you come back? My wife is in a bad mood. As her husband, I should stay home to comfort her. How did you know I was in a bad mood? I'm not that stupid. Your acting couldn't fool me. The tears I had been holding back finally fell. Jiang Jia sighed, teardrop. Jiang Jia only stayed for one night and left early the next morning by high-speed train. I didn't want him to go, but he kissed my forehead and said, the company has already registered in Shenzhen. Come find me there during summer break. I nodded vigorously and started counting down the days. Another half-month passed. School was out. I couldn't wait and bought a ticket to San Francisco. It wasn't until Jiang Jia drove me to his company that I realized it was different from what I had imagined. I had thought that Jiang Jia was just doing ordinary transportation work, renting a few trucks to transport goods. But when I saw it in person, I discovered it was a logistics company integrating e-commerce, transportation, and courier services. It wasn't very large, but it had already taken on a lot of business. I was speechless. How did you come up with this idea? I remembered that in my previous life, Jiang Jia hadn't come to San Francisco. He was just an ordinary mechanic who was later noticed by the boss of a foreign company and jumped ship to a multinational automotive group. Later, he left to start his own research and development team, specializing in chip development. He made his first fortune. Gradually, his automotive chip business grew larger and larger. Now, Jiang Jia's life path has changed because of me. He left the auto repair shop early and never had the chance to meet that boss. He even came to San Francisco and started a logistics company. The e-commerce industry has been growing rapidly in San Francisco in recent years, and logistics is a gap in the market. Coincidentally, I know a bit about cars, so I invested the money I earned from working with cars recently and decided to give it a try. What Jiang Jia didn't mention was that although we had been living in Seattle, the leading companies there were still dominated by the Hayes family group. Starting a business there would have been extremely challenging for him. He had to leave for my sake. While I felt sorry for him, I couldn't help but admire his foresight. Because I believe that the logistics company Jiang Jia founded will become a vital link in the supply chain, an indispensable presence in San Francisco's e-commerce sector. Jiang Jia had already rented an apartment. It's a small 2-bedroom place. It's about the same size as our house in Seattle, but the price is 3 times higher. The cost of living here is high, and I've invested all my money in the company. Jiang Jia said with a rare touch of shyness, I've used the money in your account. It was always yours. Jiang Jia kissed my lips. Once we're settled, I'll give you all my salary. The company had already been registered, so we couldn't keep commuting back and forth. I never had much affection for Seattle anyway. After discussing it with Jiang Jia, we decided that I should just quit my job and move to San Francisco too. I stayed until the start of the semester, then returned to school to process my resignation. By then, Jiang Jia's logistics company had already taken shape, and as a pioneer in entrepreneurship, she had been invited for several interviews. A colleague who had once said that my husband bought a Mercedes and had Jiang Jia maintain it saw me again and approached me. We saw your husband on TV the other day. I told you Jiang Jia was a rising star. Looks like beautiful women have the same taste. He's really made it now. Another colleague chimed in, you have to give Xiaoxi credit for her good taste. If there's any outstanding young man, introduce him to us too. I glanced around at the people gathered around me. They were the same group who had gossiped about Jiang Jia behind her back then. I didn't want to have much interaction with them, so I just smiled and nodded along. Emily. As I was about to leave the school gate, I suddenly heard someone call my name. It was Linda. She was wearing a black uniform skirt and walking quickly toward me. Her tone was a bit stiff as she began, earlier, I was tempted by some small favors and tried to set you up with my cousin Ethan. I owe you an apology. I bit my lip. There's no need to apologize to me. Wait. Linda grabbed my hand. Xiaoxi, I'm sorry. I was forced to do it. After hearing those words, I lost consciousness. When I woke up, I was lying in bed. The mattress was soft. The room was spacious, with roses blooming outside the floor-to-ceiling windows. This was the villa I had lived in for 10 years. My mind was momentarily confused, and I couldn't distinguish between the two lives. Could it be that I didn't die? I was still in the villa, and everything was just a dream? As I was lost in my thoughts, the door opened. Ethan walked in. Awake? I instinctively tried to sit up, but found my body completely limp and unable to move. Don't struggle. You can't move. I thought of Linda before I lost consciousness. It's you? Ethan, do you know that restricting someone's freedom is illegal? But as soon as I finished speaking, Ethan burst into laughter as if he had heard the funniest joke. He burst into laughter. Restricting freedom? Emily, you've always been mine. He walked toward me, his eyes filled with obsessive madness. You don't know, but we've always been a couple, living here. In that moment, I finally understood. Why, despite my careful avoidance, I could never escape Ethan. It turned out he had also been reborn. I calmed down completely. We've always been a couple? Ethan, every day I spent with you was torture. I'd rather die than live like this. If you hadn't used my parents to force me, I never would have lived here with you. Hearing my words, he looked shocked. You. That's right, I remember everything from before. I looked at Ethan. So in this lifetime, I won't give you another chance to hurt me. How could I hurt you? No, Xiaoxi, you love me. We've been together for 10 years. It was my fault. I shouldn't have left you alone in the villa. Otherwise, you wouldn't have. He didn't finish his sentence. But I knew what he wanted to say, otherwise, I wouldn't have died. Hearing this, I wanted to laugh. Ethan, don't you understand? Why did I stay by your side after my parents died? It's because I needed to gather evidence to avenge my parents. I need to see you go to prison with my own eyes. Otherwise, how could I ever be at peace? You want to know why your company's secrets were leaked, why all the dirty things you did that you thought were flawless were exposed by the police? It's all because of me. My goal is to make you pay for your crimes with your blood. Enough. Not enough. I decided to say it all at once. After you go to prison, the fire was set by me. I just want you to lose everything. Including everything he's ever touched. I, who was already so filthy. Why? Why did I love you so much? In my previous life, I rejected Ethan's advances. He deceived my father into taking out a high-interest loan and then forced me to be with him. My father didn't want me to suffer, so he turned himself in voluntarily. My mother, overcome with anger and grief, fell ill, and Ethan cut off her medical care, forcing me to move into the villa. I looked at Ethan and sneered, "Love? You don't deserve to even mention that word." After saying that, I stood up from the bed and moved the restraints. Ethan was stunned. How? How could you move? I looked at him expressionlessly. In my previous life, you drugged me and took advantage of me. How could I possibly make the same mistake twice? As I spoke, I made a gesture toward the door. Hidden police burst through the door. Ethan went mad, still pleading with me, "Xiaoxi, let's forget everything and start over. I don't care what you did, I forgive you." I saw Jiang Jia slowly appear at the door. I rushed over. As I passed Ethan, I whispered, "But I don't forgive you." Ethan was taken away. My whole body felt like it had lost all strength, and I collapsed into Jiang Jia's arms. "Husband, is there anything you want to ask me?" Jiang Jia shook his head. "It's all in the past." "Yes, it's all in the past. All the right and wrong, it has nothing to do with me. From now on, I am just Jiang Jia's wife. Let's go visit my parents sometime." Jiang Jia curved his lips and replied, "Sure. From the day I was reborn. I found an excuse to have my parents leave Bincheng. We returned to our rural hometown. I retired early, and life was fairly comfortable. They didn't know about my marriage to Jiang Jia, and I dared not tell them. During the new year, Jiang Jia brought a full load of New Year's gifts to my home to pay respects and propose marriage. In March of the same year, we finally held our wedding. That was the 7th year I had been locked up by Ethan. Once, Jiang Jia's parents were both deceased, and he had no relatives since childhood. Only my side of the family attended the wedding. As the man bowed to offer tea, when he called out, "Dad, Mom," I clearly saw tears in the corners of his eyes. For some reason, I suddenly thought of my previous life. When I died, Jiang Jia was nearly 40 and alone. I had never heard any rumors about him. He seemed so pure and unworldly, almost not human. If you hadn't married me, what kind of wife would you have sought? That night, I couldn't help but ask Jiang Jia. I don't know, Jiang Jia pondered for a moment. I won't look for one. I've grown accustomed to being alone. Then why did you agree to my proposal at the time? Upon hearing this, Jiang Jia seemed lost in thought. Recalling something, he curved the corners of his lips. He said, at the time, I just thought having one more person around would be nice. Plus, you're such a beautiful wife. I widened my eyes. So, you were just attracted to my looks? Probably not. After all, you gave me your bank card. Jiang Jia suppressed a smile. I was also attracted to the money. Seeing me pout, Jiang Jia kissed my forehead. Thank you, my wife, for giving me a home. No. It should be me thanking Jiang Jia. Living 2 lifetimes, I finally found true love.